Welcome. My name is Barb, and today we're going to talk about putting a picture in place in a WordPress post, and we're also going to learn what it means to optimize that picture. The word optimize is something that's frequently sort of thrown about, and it's really not all that difficult. You'll find out how easy it actually is. So let's talk about, first of all, putting the picture in place. So I'm going to click on this tab, and this will bring us to the back side of my blog. I'm actually already logged in. So if you want to get to the edit post, in other words, go to posts, all posts, and edit the post that you want to put the picture in place on, that's where we are. I'm going to click in the upper left. In order to insert a picture, I need a flashing cursor. So you'll see a cursor is flashing here. I'm then going to click on the button that says Add Media. And I'm going to choose the picture that I want. In this case, it's one of my book covers. And as soon as I click on it, I get a check mark. I also get a whole bunch of details displaying over here on the right-hand side. We'll talk about the details in this in a sec. I'm just going to click on Insert into Post and pop it into place. The first things you should realize is that you can move the picture around quite easily. Clicking on the picture will bring up a little menu bar here. The picture is aligned left or left justified. I can click on the center and have it center justified. You'll notice that it pushes all of the text to below the picture. I can also click on align right or right justify it. It then wraps the text around and puts the picture on the far right. I actually like pictures being on the far left, so I'm going to switch it back. The first choice, or the fourth choice, I should say, is no alignment. On a WordPress blog, you should never choose no alignment, because what that means is the blog can choose to do whatever it is it wants to do. That's never a good thing. You want to tell the blog where you want the picture to appear. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to edit it. So we're going to click on the pencil, and that brings up what's called the image details screen. We've already looked at a left, center, right, and none, and sort of talked about the size, but let's talk about the size again. When the picture displays in the blog post, you want it to display at an appropriate size. You'll notice that the full size of this picture is actually massive. We don't want any picture displaying at that size. Even the large size is probably too big for the environment, or it won't look normal in the blog post. So I'm going to leave it at medium. We're going to talk more about pictures or picture size in just a second, but we're going to go up here and talk about caption. Caption, most people are aware of. It is a little blurb that exists underneath the picture. So for now, I'm just going to put the title of the book in place. You can use this space to give a photo credit. You can use it for quite a few things. But essentially, whatever you put in here will be visible to anybody reading your blog. The field below is the field that is frequently ignored. And this is the field that we're going to look at when we talk about optimizing a picture. It's what's labeled alternative text. We put text in this area for two types of readers. The first type of reader is somebody who reads our blog posts using a screen reader. And it's actually more common than you are probably aware. Screen readers read words. They don't read pictures. So we need to put a description in place for the screen reader to read so that the person who is using the screen reader to read our blog posts so that they actually know what the picture is. If they can't see it, so you give them that information in words. The other person or thing that reads our blog posts that can't see pictures is Google. So whenever our blog posts are indexed by Google, we want to give Google information about this picture so that it knows what the picture is without actually seeing the picture. Way back when, we used to use this field to stuff keywords in, and of course now Google calls that keyword stuffing. and that can get you sanctioned. We don't do that anymore. But what we do is we put a phrase or a sentence in place that is helpful. So for example, I'm going to start with Blogging for Authors by Barb Drozdowicz. Okay, so that's the title of the book, which is the graphic. It's a book cover. In addition to this, we want to be helpful. So Blogging for Authors by Barb Drozdowicz is kind of meaningless without any context. So let's say this is a fiction award-winning book that helps authors understand how to blog. And then put a dash in and leave the title and the author name. So that way people understand what it is that they're looking at. In actual fact, we can even go as far as saying the book cover of a nonfiction award-winning book. Oh, and there's a typo. That helps authors, I don't think I type very well, understand how to blog, right? And that's even more helpful. And what you are doing with this is not only adding content to your blog post, but you are being overtly helpful to anybody or anything that is going through your blog post that can't see pictures. Once we're finished with that, click on the update button, and you'll notice that it pops a picture in place and has a caption. So I'm going to click on update, and it'll whir and do its thing. So the other thing that we're going to talk about here is this graphic down here, and I copied and pasted this in place so that we could refer to it. One of the complaints I get quite frequently is that my blog posts don't pull the right picture when they're shared on insert social media here. So the common complaint is Facebook. Facebook tends to be very particular about the size of the picture that comes with the blog post to be shared. There are a whole bunch of different ways of manipulating this, but the easiest thing you can do is give Facebook the size of picture that it wants in the first place. The same thing is true for Pinterest and for Google Plus and a bunch of other social media, but Facebook does seem to be the most difficult to deal with. So look at the sizes here. The cover photo, it wants a 851 pixel by 351 pixel. To give you some frame of reference, this picture right now is 250 by 175, so it's 250 high and 175 wide. So these pictures are massive, relatively speaking. A shared image, it wants 1200 pixels wide by 630 pixels tall. So these are big. So how do you do this? I mean, realistically, if you were to put a picture in place that's 1200 pixels wide, it would be the entire width of your whole blog. And we don't want the picture to overwhelm the blog, let alone the whole blog post. So what we do is we start with a picture that is of this size or bigger. So if I click on the edit and then the pencil, let's look at the actual full size of this picture. So you'll notice that the full size of this picture is 1644 by 2530. So it's well big enough for Facebook to pull. So essentially Facebook has access to a larger picture, but we want to display it at a reasonable size. So I'm going to click on update and get out of that. So you'll notice the sizes that are required, but those aren't the sizes that we actually display. So going to the front side of the blog, we want a picture that is in place, potentially with a caption if you feel it belongs. We also want to put an alternative text statement or phrase in place to be as helpful as you can be. You'll notice it doesn't display, but it can be read. And we want the picture sized to be appropriate for the blog post. We don't want the picture to overwhelm the blog post. We don't want the picture to potentially encroach into the sidebar, for example. We want it sized properly. So I hope this helps. I hope you understand better how to get your pictures in place, what size to choose, and how to optimize them. Practice on your blog, see if you can get this to work, and don't hesitate to send me any questions whatsoever. I'm always happy to help.